Hello and welcome to Warm Hugs with Suzanne. I'm Suzanne Mann, and I have a bit of a different episode for you today. Not only do I have three phenomenal guests, but today we're also going to be speaking about some people and a place that really has a special spot in my heart. These are the students of Adelaide Primary School in Nassau, Bahamas. Adelaide is a small local government school. It's in the southwest of New Providence Island. And Adelaide is not a fancy area. It's got a really beautiful community feel, though. One of my favorite things when you drive into Adelaide is that there are two beautiful big murals with smiling faces on them. They are bright and gorgeous. And there's a big sign that says, "Welcome to Adelaide Village." And every time I drive in, I think that just even that mural gives a glimpse of the spirit of the children at Adelaide Primary School. The ladies I'm interviewing today help with a non for profit organization called the Adelaide Auxiliary. They help to support the children of Adelaide Primary School in many, many ways. Today, we're going to explore how and why the children need that support. And we're going to discover Adelaide and the Adelaide Auxiliary through the eyes of these three beautiful ladies. So I'd like to start by introducing Maria Souza,
Hello.
Cassandra Price,
Hi.
and Tanya Melick Crone.
Hello.
Good morning, ladies. Welcome, and thank you for giving of your time for us today. Now, I'd like to start with Cassandra because my understanding is that the Adelaide Auxiliary started 50 years ago
Yeah.
when a visitor to the school realized that the children were not able to focus and concentrate well enough because they weren't having their nutritional needs met during the day. But Cassandra, so first of all, I want to ask not only how you became part of the auxiliary, but
hmm
surely in 2026,
hmm
20 minutes away from where I live, there are not children going to school hungry.
Well, that's a great question. And I think there are some reasonable answers for that with what's going on with the country. But let me go back to how the program started. So now the way I understand it is that Sir Guy and Lady Henderson um, would come to Adelaide to swim.
Ah,
And Lady Henderson noticed that children were at the school, were going through dumpsters looking for food. I think today we call it dumpster diving.
mm,
So that's what the children were doing, and uh, you know, they took it upon themselves to, rally a few ladies together, make sandwiches, and bring them to the school every day to the kids at the school. So that is how it started.
wow.
And, over 50 years ago. And it's a testament to the Hendersons that they were um, so moved that they took action. And that action has lasted for over 50 years with
Mm,
dedicated people. Now, um, it is lovely to see that someone saw that need and actually did something about it. I like being a part of this organization because all of the members, all of the donors, all of the volunteers, everyone is very dedicated to making sure that the children get what they need. My focus is the food program. And I actually had been a volunteer first, and then there were two members, board members, Nicola and Lucy, that invited me to become a part of the auxiliary. And it was hard for me. It was hard for me only because, listen, I'm a healthy lady. I love to eat. And to think that
We all do.
children and to think that children don't have something as basic as being able to, have a meal.
Mm.
In the time that I've been with the program, well, with the auxiliary, um, I think it's been over 15 years now. What I found is that sometimes the kids only eat that one meal a day.
Wow.
Um, I mean, the attendance of the school varies, but I think the maximum children that they can hold per classroom is probably about 175 students. Um, and we have, over the years, I've found that we have been serving a majority of the students, and every day they come in for lunch. That's how it was when I first started, and eventually we ended up um, um, providing breakfast too.
So Cassandra, sorry, that's so 175 is approximately the whole size of the school, isn't it?
Yes, I think per classroom they have so many. So I
Yes,
think
yeah.
at the moment,
So it's not a
175
large
kids.
school and it's just a primary
No.
school. It goes kindergarten to grade 6. Yeah.
Hmm.
But there's
Well,
175 children that then are coming and be that you're feeding every day.
every day. Well, no, that depends on who shows up. But
Yes.
now the thing that, and then also, enrollment is different every year. So we're always juggling with that. At the moment, enrollment is on the lower end, this year in particular. Actually, yeah, it's lower this year. Um, but I think the thing that is most concerning is the price of food currently in today's environment. I think parents have struggled anyways to feed their children, hence the food program to begin with. Um, but the economy has been difficult in the Bahamas. And
Mm.
so, parents have their own hardships. Um, Financially, jobs are difficult to come by. Cost of living is incredibly expensive. And a lot of these people, I find, may or may not be in a position to receive lots of public assistance. I'll put it that way. And so having the food program at Adelaide School is a beacon for not just the children, but for the parents too. At least they know if they send their kids to school,
Mm.
which is an incredible incentive, their children will get something to eat that day. And so they could go to bed at night not starved because they've had something twice in the day.
Wow. Isn't that it's mind-blowing, isn't it? For me, I feel like it's mind-blowing. And because, for example, Cassandra, as you say, even getting the kids to school sometimes is a struggle. And one of the things that all of the ladies here know as well is, for example, on a day like today where it's raining in the Bahamas,
Mhm. Mhm.
the number of kids coming to school drops drastically.
Oh, absolutely. I have gotten an opportunity to see where the kids live. Now, the school's services more than just the village of Adelaide.
Mm.
It's for the entire constituency. So sometimes kids are coming, miles away. But what I found to get to the bus stop, they're walking a mile.
Yeah.
So if they don't leave that house in time and they miss that bus, they're out of luck because they generally can't find another ride to the school.
Mm. Amazing. Amazing. So that and this the food that you're providing as well, this has grown from just this is no longer just groups of women providing sandwiches each day, is it?
No,
What's the auxiliary grown to with this food side?
well, like I said, it was just a couple volunteer ladies would prepare sandwiches. We're now have a cook and a helper that come every day, rain or shine, they are there. They're there early for the children that get dropped off extra early at the school. They're there to provide breakfast for them. And they stay in, let me see, so they prepare breakfast for those kids, they prepare lunch for the kids, and then they leave after all the kids have been sated. I'll put it that way. And Evelyn is an excellent cook, and I find that the kids really enjoy her and Deidre, the helper, in the kitchen. So they like to just stop by, say hi. They help out where they can, and they just like to come around and say hello to the ladies. But the most important part is, do they eat the food? Now,
Mm.
children are finicky. It's not always easy to appeal to everyone, but I think the ladies do a good job of being able to identify what the kids like, what they don't like, and stay within budget. Right now, we spend about $520 per student annually, um, which doesn't sound like much to the folks that live on the western end of the island. We probably spend that on dinner a couple times a week. But for these kids,
Mhm.
for the year, 520, to me, it's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And today I'm not going to be able to help myself but add my little bits in as well.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Because so I didn't actually say, but I'm also one of the volunteers at with the
Yes.
auxiliary.
One
And
of our superstars.
oh, thank you so much. But Cassandra, for example, one of the one of the children that I teach, it's not only been a godsend for her because she is one of those children that I know I will speak to her and I will say, "Have you eaten today?" And there will be days where she has said, "I had some tea this morning." And I say, "Have you eaten anything?" And she'll say, "Well, not until I got to school." That is the school provides her breakfast.
Hmm.
And very often as well, we were having sessions where I could tell that as how this very first started with the Hendersons, isn't it?
Yes,
Not being able to as well see that the kids could concentrate. The beautiful little girl that I teach, very often she has not been able to concentrate. And I had to have that discussion with her. And now she knows that we have a little saying that, and I say to her every single time I see her, I say, "Have you ordered lunch?" And she
mm,
says, "Yes," because she knows that if she hasn't, or even if she tells me that she doesn't like it, it's a sandwich today and I don't like a sandwich, I'll say,
yeah,
have you tried it? And we have that lesson about trying things is important.
yes,
And now we also have the lesson where I say to her, "I'm so proud of you that you have ordered food today because food does what?" And she said, "Food gives us energy." And I said,
absolutely,
what does energy let us do?" And we say, "Energy lets us focus." And
absolutely.
these are the keys that are the auxiliary. It's just that is like the first step in the bucket of this
It really
beautiful
is.
bucket that the auxiliary is providing.
It really is. But again, we want to remember that the kids have um I guess to me, personally, I think it's important that the kids know that we are there for them.
Yeah.
And we're not forcing anybody to take anything, but sometimes as a mom, I find that sometimes I have to encourage. When my daughter was younger, I had to encourage her to try new things. um I think the ladies in the kitchen do an excellent job of providing foods that are familiar to the children.
Mm.
Now, when I look at it, I don't know that it looks so great to me, but the kids seem to love it. So I was like, I defer to them.
It is really
Um,
culturally appropriate food as well.
It is. So it can be surprising sometimes when people see what the kids are being offered.
Hmm.
But if they stayed long enough to see that the kids come back for more
Yes.
and they have smiles on their faces and they're happy with it. And I guess at the end of the day, that's what's important. As long
Yes.
as they get a nutritious meal and they're happy at the end of it, we've
Yes.
done our job.
That's right. And you've even got oranges and apples there most every day as well that they can go. And so that, again, the little girl, if she doesn't like what's on offer, I say, well, why don't you go and get an orange today? And she'll say, yes, Miss Suzanne.
Absolutely.
And I also wanted to point something out that not
Mhm.
all children, but there are a few children that attend Adelaide who live in conditions where there's no running water in their house or
Oh,
like
yes.
electricity, right? So maybe they do get food, but they don't have a refrigerator with fresh fruit or vegetables, or running water. They have to walk, get water from like,
Mm,
it seems really weird to think that we live in the world, especially a small island where things like this happen. Not all the children, but we do know a case or two of children that don't have they don't have a refrigerator at home with
mm.
Mhm.
food. So whatever they eat is whatever they have available um, at their house.
Maria, that is such a good point. And even as you drive into Adelaide, there is a communal, I forget what they call it here, but like a communal water fountain a water pump that
Oh yeah.
you often
Yeah.
see people at filling their water bottles. And
Mhm.
again, it really is mind-blowing that 20 minutes away you have some of the wealthiest gated communities in the world. But I mean, that is how often works in cities and countries as well. But this is, because in the Bahamas it's such a small place, everything is so much closer together to have that happening. So it really is. It's providing by the kids coming to school. So the food often gets them to school, we're hoping.
Yes.
That's like step one
Yes.
of getting them to school. And then, Tanya, what I wanted to ask you about is what else is the Adelaide Auxiliary then doing, and how has it grown from this food program into what else it is today? And how do you then keep funding it?
So, as Cassandra beautifully told the story about how it all started, really it started just as a lunch program. It was primarily lunches. We then transitioned into doing breakfast because we realized the children were coming and hadn't had breakfast.
Mhm.
During that phase, we started doing a reading program, which Maria now heads up. That started as a group of women and men who just wanted to come up, read to the children, give them extra support, because a lot of these children are coming from families whose parents themselves don't read or write.
Mm.
So they're not getting the ability at home to sit down with a book. They don't even have a book and practice what they've learned in the classroom. So Maria and Erin head up the reading program where people come, and it used to be they would just come, sit outside, read a book, and anybody that wanted to join in would come and sit under the tree and read a book. And it wasn't very targeted. Over the years, we've got it much more fine-tuned. And Maria will talk a lot more about that later, but it now is in conjunction with the principal and also our special ed teachers and our pull-out teacher. So it's all combined much more and it's overseen in a much better way so that we know that we're getting a lot more value for the time that people are putting in, and we're getting much better results. So that was our second sort of largest program at the time. Amongst those sort of years, we did everything from we put in a new basketball court, we put an astroturf, we built a gazebo. We used to take the children on outings. Every grade would go on an outing every term. And at the end of year, we'd have a grade 6 graduation where we'd send them to summer camp on one of the out islands, which was amazing. But as Cassandra knows, because she helped me organizing it, it was a nightmare to organize, as you can imagine. So we haven't done that for a few years. We've given PE kits to the whole school. We've done sports programs. We brought in people to host summer camps. So I sort of like to describe ourselves as an arm of the school. So we're just a helping hand. So we're there. We know we can't interfere too much. We know we offer our services, we offer our help, we offer where can we be of assistance and what are you struggling with? So it can be as simple as we've got a sports tournament and they're asking the parents to pay to bus the children, but we don't have enough money. So we say, okay, we'll pick it up. We'll pay for that. Or it could be an event like taking children to see the Nutcracker, which we did at Christmas. We took 20 children. It could be, could you help organize a teacher event, a thank you? So we get asked to do a lot of things. It can be supplies, and we fundraise this all separately from the school, and we just authorize anything that they need through our small board. So we're a board of 10 ladies, sadly no men. I don't think we've ever had a man on our board. We haven't managed to wrangle one yet. And we all are given very specific, we work together very well as a group, but we're also given very specific roles. So Cassandra heads up the food program. We have others that head up the reading. I head up the education portion. But we all work as a team. We meet 2 or 3 times a year, and we meet with the principal regularly to see what she needs.
Yes.
And I think our biggest program recently that we started 10 years ago, and we realized that there was a great need. Cassandra and I used to go in, when we first started at the school, we used to go into the grades and read a story for half an hour, again, because we realized they didn't have this at home. So we'd each take a grade, and there were 3 of us, and we'd each take a grade. And as the grade aged out, we would move up with them. So I think we read with the same group of children for about 3 years.
Yes.
And we just go in and read. I loved reading Roald Dahl to them, and we did Harry Potter. And I know Cassandra was amazing because she'd come in dressed up, and that was phenomenal. But from that and being in the classroom so much, I noticed that a lot of the children, typically the children that were sort of the class clowns, were children that had fallen very far behind. They weren't reading. And I started with grades 3, and then we went 4, 5, and still in grades 4 and 5, we had children that were non-readers. And I think because we do get a lot of English as a second language children, we have a large Haitian community on the island, and they are made to come to school, whether they are on the island legally or not, they have to come to school. So there's a big disparity between language and what they've already learned. So children get left behind, and it's up to the teachers to catch them up. And sometimes the classes are big, and we know there's a big disparity, but you can have a child that's reading above grade level, a child that's reading 2 years below. So we thought that we should instigate an education program. So we teamed up with a local special education school, and an amazing headmistress there called Kim Kuskalis, and she guided us and supplied a teacher for us. And what started out as morning lessons for a small group of children has now morphed into, we have a full-time teacher who is phenomenal, called Katie Strawn, who has been in education for close to 20 years and actually came from Korea, studied in Korea, and then has been on the island for 4 years, studying at Life Key School or teaching at Life Key School. And she kindly came and agreed to be with us. And she has made a most incredible change. We now have the most organized pull-out program where we identify 19 children at the start of the year through a rigorous testing program that we implement. And from that, we decide which children would benefit from it. And this year, I think we tested 21 children, and we took 19 of those 21. The 2 that we didn't take were primarily because they had other issues, or their attendance, that we just knew they weren't going to be in school enough to warrant giving the attention, sadly. So she's now been teaching 19 children 4 days a week. She comes in and they get 45 minutes in small groups, 2s and 3s, aligned with their abilities and their reading abilities. And they come into her, and the change has been phenomenal. And I know that you, Suzanne, have seen that because you're often in that classroom reading to children. And we've had just incredible success with it. We've now fed out 5 of those children, so we're able to take another 5. So we will have now, we're hoping by the end of the year, we will have affected, 27, 28 children,
Wow.
which
So Tanya, you're saying that there are 5 of those children that at the beginning of the year were identified as needing
over
help,
over a grade below reading level. So if they were in grade 3, they were reading it below grade 2.
and now they're able to.
They are at grade level.
Wow. Isn't
Yeah.
that incredible?
It
And we
is.
recently had children that were were on the honored roll. On the honor roll, we had 2 children that were honored for honor roll, and then we had 3 children that were most improved. And so we can really see that this program is making such a difference. And I think I've headed up with another lady, Nuala, who I couldn't do it without. And I think we're just really excited because we've seen such results. It's like, Cassandra gets to see the food coming out each day. It takes us a while to see our achievements. And I think it's been really phenomenal. And we have an amazing head this year who's been really hands-on and supportive. And so has the Ministry of Education. And so we all do it together as a team. And I just hope it continues. I mean, we could do with 3 Katies, and we could do them, but right now we're doing what we can, and we're hoping. I mean, our goal would be that every child, by the time they got to grade 6, were reading at grade level, because
Yes.
right now we've got children that are reading at all different levels throughout the school.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's our dream, and we talk about it a lot, but we
And just to show how much these children love Katie and love the work she's doing with them as well. When I am there, I'm often there during the morning recess break or during lunchtime. And
Mhm.
these students, they eat as quickly as they can and are then all knocking on Katie's door to come
have.
in, to see her, to read, to be sitting in the corner. She's just set it up beautifully. And again, it's through donations from the
Mhm.
auxiliary and from volunteers that there's a beautiful little reading corner. There's an Elmo and a Cookie Monster, and they love sitting there and chatting with them and looking at the books. Because as you say, a lot of these children as well don't even have they don't have books at home, or they don't have anyone there to even be reading with them. She really has made a phenomenal
A
difference.
phenomenal difference. And
Yeah.
also this year we implemented something called a RAS program, which is a online reading program, which initially I'm so old school. I love the idea of children sitting with books, and I love the feel of a book, and I love the ability to take a book away and read it
Yes.
anywhere. And so when an online program was being introduced, or we thought about being introduced, I was a little hesitant, but it's an online program where you can actually flip a page and you
Yes.
then progress through it, and there's comprehension questions, and you can't progress to the next book. And we have introduced that into this across the school now. It started with, it was going to be just our class with our children, and now it's progressed throughout the school. And what happens is the computers are set up in our classroom, for want of
Mm.
a better word. And so the children come in at lunchtime and give up their lunchtime play to come in and read. And we now have a competition going throughout the school of whichever class reads the most that month, they get pizza day, and the teacher gets a little present to say thank you. And so it's amazing what a slice of pizza will incentivize. So
Yeah.
we're hitting it every way we can, and we're excited about it.
It is amazing. It really is amazing. And Tanya, I'm going to come back to you a bit later to ask about the funding for all of this. But first of all, I wanted to speak to you, Maria, about this other side as well, which it's sort of in conjunction, but you head the reader volunteers that come in. Now, who are these children that you're reading with? And what's that part of the auxiliary all about?
So it started, like Tanya said, the ladies were going to, take lunch to the kids, and then they realized that a lot of them were not reading at grade level. So then the ladies would start, they just would read to the class like Cassandra and Tanya did. And then that started to evolve. They're like, wait a second, when they were reading to the children, they realized the kids didn't even know, the words of a basic book. So then we started to evolve in the reading program, and we said, okay, let's just pull out one kid at a time with the volunteer and read to them. And then we were like, wait a second, they don't know the letter sounds. We need to teach them that before we can get them to read. And so the volunteers are just moms, mostly just parents. There's quite a few men as well that have come and helped out. And we decided to start working with third and fourth graders. Um, then COVID hit, and most of these kids were not in school. They were not online. The parents were not reading with them. So they felt behind by a lot. So after COVID, we said, you know what, we need to start targeting grade twos, because once they get to third grade, if they don't have the basic knowledge of, letter sounds, there is no way we can have them reading, at grade level. So for the after COVID, second grade has been the year that we try to focus on, mostly because Katie, and prior to Katie, we also had another special ed teacher, was taking the kids from third, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade out for a pull-out program. So we're like, let's get them before they get pulled out to see if maybe us reading with them and helping them with those, pre-reading skills would help them to improve their reading.
Mm. Because
So,
and just to give our listeners a bit of, I don't know, to give them a bit of an example as well. So when we're saying that these children are, so Maria, you're talking about children who, yeah, in second, third grade that don't know their sounds. Now, normally a second, what sort of level is a normal sort of second? Well, I'm saying normal, like your average second grader in Sydney, Australia, or in, Lightbird,
United States or
Bahamas.
whatever.
What level are they at?
So if your letter sounds, you start learning that really in preschool. Preschool and kindergarten is where you know letter sounds.
Mm,
So these kids are in second grade and they didn't even know the alphabet, you
yeah.
know? So they were behind by a lot.
Mm,
But kids are resilient, right? And they just need a little bit of one-on-one and some motivation and someone that's just keeps showing up for them and, saying like, good job and, giving them a high five. So I think grade two is like a really good year, because I think once you hit third grade, if you don't know those skills, then you're already a little bit more mature and you start to realize, wait a second, they lose their confidence.
yeah.
And we don't want them to lose their confidence before they learn how to read. So that's why we usually target the younger years, second grade, to make sure that by the time they get to third grade, they are, confident, they know their letter sounds, they're reading fluently so they can keep up with the classwork, right? Because once you hit third grade, it's not about letter sounds, it's about, reading a book and, summarizing and
Mm,
answering, questions that are beyond what they know how to do.
yeah. Now, Maria, when you or any of the volunteers come to the school and pull the kids out to do this reading time, are the kids dragging their feet and are they sort of going, oh, I don't want to go? What sort of response do you get to know that they love seeing you?
Oh, we get into the classroom, and as soon as they see our face, they're raising their hands. Please pick me. Please pick me. Please take me out, and take me with my friend. And I want to go too. Even the kids that are not in our program
Yeah.
are begging us sometimes to like, please pull them out. They get really excited, and it's very simple what we do. We don't do, anything crazy. We don't really, we might give them a sticker at the end, but I think just having an adult being with them and sitting down with them, showing up for them once a week or twice a week. Some volunteers come twice a week, some just come once, a week. But they already recognize us. They already know that, this person is here showing up for me, teaching me, and they get so excited. It's really sweet. And we look forward to
Mm.
it too. I think it's
Yeah.
a win-win on both ends. It's not just us giving them, I think their smile and when they are able to, oh my gosh, they're finally recognizing this letter or they can actually make this letter sound. For us, it's also so like it's such a happy moment. So I think it's a win-win for both the kids and the volunteers.
It really is. Like it feels, I think that anyone who comes leaves with a full heart. And I have to apologize. Anyone, Maria, luckily your sound is perfect, but when we're watching this, you you
It's
keep freezing.
lagging. Yeah.
You're freezing, but that's fine. So,
Yeah.
but everyone's still able to hear you. Now, I wanted to just have time to ask you ladies if anyone has any favorite personal stories that you'd like to share with a particular student, perhaps over the years, or
Uh, I actually have two quite sweet stories that I can think of off the bat. A few years ago, we had a different education teacher. She had a little girl, a very sweet little girl called Jasmine, and she was in the class. And one day, Jasmine couldn't read, and she was starting to learn, and she was going to be in the class for the full year. And Jasmine brought her mum in to meet the teacher. She'd come in. It's difficult to get the parents in. It's very difficult. So a lot of them don't have any transport. There aren't buses to this area, so it's tough. So she made her way in, and the teacher, Miss Monroe, who was a fantastic teacher at the time, discovered that Jasmine's mum couldn't read. So she said to Jasmine, "Well, I understand this is going to be a problem." And she says, "No, don't worry." She says, "I'm teaching my mummy how to read at home now. What I learn, I will teach my mummy." And that was a story that I just remembered last night, thinking about that, how the effect, the trickle down effect of this. Sometimes it's not just one child we're affecting, it could be a whole family, or it could be a parent, or it could be a sibling that sees one of their brothers or sisters doing well and they want to do well.
mm,
So it's not in isolation, which is quite special. And then there was another time once, and I was just at the supermarket, and here in the Bahamas, the kids, to earn extra money, they pack the groceries for you. And I was, at checkout, and one of the girls said to me, "Hi, Miss Tanya." And I felt awful because I didn't recognize her initially, because obviously, you see these children when they're sort of 5 or 6 and suddenly they're 17 or I was like, "Oh my gosh, hello." And she says, "Do you remember me? I was in your class. You used to read Harry Potter to me." And I said, "Wow, what are you doing now? Where are you?" She says, "Well, I'm at school." She says, "I'm doing my English PGCSE, and then I'm going to go and study English at the Commonwealth of Bahamas, at the university here at UB, University of Bahamas." And I said, "That's amazing." She said, "I'm going to study English. And it's all because I used to read
ah,
with you." And she's
ah,
like, "I love English now." And I'm like, "Gosh." And I think it was so wonderful, but then there was a sadness to it because we don't ever see,
mm,
we see the children in me that year and then they move on. But once they move out of the school, we don't really have a way to track them and to know what they do. So we don't know how many stories are out there. And we don't really know where these children end up. They go
mm,
on to, they move out at the end of grade 6 and they go into big boy school or big girl school. And then they're in the big wide world. And it's not like they have an email that we can keep in touch with them or a phone number that they keep.
yeah,
Uh, so we kind of lose track. So they tend to recognize us, but of course they grow up, and we've seen so many children that you feel awful that you haven't recognized them necessarily.
yeah. Oh,
Those are two
Tanya,
those are two sweet stories that I sort of remember. I don't know if anyone else has.
you've just given me God bumps with those. They're so that's so beautiful. Ladies, do you have anything? Do you have a story you'd like to add at all?
Maria, do you have anything right now?
I mean, all I can say is there's this one little boy, and he just had the hearts of all the volunteers. but he has his eyes, he had cross-eyed. He's cross-eyed. And so one of the parents was like, we need to do something. I mean, this boy is like the sweet, he's just his smile, like any volunteer that would get him, he was like, oh my gosh, you just melt his, like you melt because he's just a really sweet, charismatic boy. So we all got, one of the moms is like, we need to do something about this. We need to get his eyes checked. So she rallied, she went out of her way, spoke to the mom, took him to the doctor, got him checked. He is now like, they have to, obviously the medical treatment that he needs is not available here in the Bahamas. So now the mom is, and she's the volunteers helping the mom and the boy to get his passport so they can both travel to the US for treatment. And in the meantime, it was like all the volunteers, we all came together, we're like, what do you need? Gave her some money so she could, pay for all the medical expenses. Till this day, every time we see him, he just comes and gives us the biggest hug. He's like, these women are here to help me, not just to
Yeah.
read, but like they see me. They're trying to help me, and he has changed. He's, doing so well academically, and he's just a very different child than when he was when we started with him.
And do you
Yes.
follow the children? Because you see all those children in grades 2, 3, and 4, and do you follow them up? Do they still come? They still come and run around you when you come into the school every day?
Once we're done with the reading, it's recess because we come to the reading program. We read from 10 to 10:45, which is then they have their snack. They all come and run to us, and you know, they'll tell us a story. Oh my gosh, I was playing soccer yesterday with my, with the soccer team. Oh my gosh, did you win? They're like, yes. Or, now I'm prefect and they show me their little, badge. I'm like, wow, we're so proud of you. Like they are so excited to come and tell us any little life story, anything that's been happening in their day. They ask you, how come you're not picking me up anymore? I'm like, well, now you grew up, you don't need us anymore. You're doing so well, you don't need us to come read, but we love to see you. And they're just, it's the school is very special. I think Suzanne, you said, once you drive into Adelaide Village, it's special, but there's something once you cross the gate of the
Mm.
entrance of the school, it has good energy. It has like the kids are happy, like, and it doesn't matter, if they have money for food or not, or if their parents can read or not. These kids, they're resilient. And I think elementary school is just so important for them to have, you know, people that care about them to be like, yes, I can do it. I can make it in the world. I want to be better. So I think it's a magical school. And it's small too. I think when the size of the school helps that where you're able to actually reach to these
Mm.
kids. Like we know them all. Like now the kids that are about to graduate, those are the kids we were working with right after COVID. It's crazy how they've grown and matured and now they're ready to, they have their wings and they're ready to fly.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And I think Cassandra gets endless hugs, supplying food.
Well, well, yeah, that too. That too. But I've had lovely interactions with the children. Not necessarily for the food program, but when we were reading, when Tanya and I were reading to the classes, and so running into those kids is always pleasant. And I guess I haven't changed much because they still remember me. But when it comes to the food program, I will say that I have been out and about shopping, hanging out, and I'd run into a grandparent, a parent, or a cousin. I don't know how these people are related to the children, but they'll come up to me and they will thank me and the auxiliary for helping them at a time when they needed it most. And that's something that we don't always see with the food program. You never get a chance to see the parents like that
Yeah.
and get an opportunity to speak with them. So I thought that was really nice to see that they do acknowledge it and that they're thankful for it. And I've also seen adults who benefited from the food program because of the Hendersons. And they have always sang praises. And I need to follow back on them and make sure that they donate. But they always but they always sing praises, and they are helpful. I have made a point of remembering them and how they could help. Um, but they're very thankful for
Mm.
the work that the auxiliary um, has done over the years. I mean, these are people that are in their 40s and 50s, and they still remember the auxiliary at Adelaide.
Mm.
I
And
think I think
that's
something,
wonderful.
sorry to interrupt. I think something that's amazing is that in a country of 700 islands and however many schools, we
Mm.
are the only group that do anything like this in the whole of Nassau, in the whole of the Bahamas. So unless, I mean, that was what I have been told by government. That's what we have been led to understand, that nobody else does this. There's nobody that sort of adopted a school and is an arm of a school and helps or does a food program.
Mm.
So I think, it's quite a unique situation. I'm sure something like this exists in other countries, but I know here we don't have anything like
Yeah.
that.
And Tanya, so the question is, I mean, there's a lot that goes into this. We've spoken about three sort of main areas there, but there's a lot of work, there's a lot of time that goes into this, and there's a lot of resources that are needed. How do you
Mhm.
keep it going? Do you need donations? What can our listeners do to help?
Always. We always need donations. We're very fortunate in that the food program has been funded by one family for a long period of time.
Wow.
And we get a 5-year commitment. So as it's drawing to the end of it, we sort of start panic stations and, are we going to need to fundraise? Are we going to need, because it is an expensive program. It costs us about $100,000 a year to run that. And one family has been incredible. And we have a lot of support from the Life of Key Foundation as well, who supports us with the family and the food program and in lots of other ways as well. The everything else is personally fundraised. So, for instance, for the education portion, we went out we have an amazing lady, Mary Constantakis. Hope she doesn't mind me sending her name, but she's amazing and she's been on the board for a long time. And she's got incredible connections, incredible friends, and she helps us with a lot of the fundraising. And if we have something like the education program, we say this is going to cost us this amount of money, we go and look for a donor. And so our ideal situation is that a donor will fund certain projects. So one donor currently has been funding the education program for the last 5 years. And as long as that remains, then we know we can
Mm.
maintain that. I mean, nobody on the board takes any form of salary. We all do it voluntarily. Every single dollar that's raised goes straight back into the children.
Yeah.
We do everything ourselves. We have an accounts, Lindsay, who does our accounts, and Nuala. So everybody is totally hands-on. So any money that's raised really does go straight to a
Mm.
good cause. But there's always things we could do. So we tend to go and fund for particular things. So right now there is a couple of things that we would like to do, and we're going to go out and see if we can get that. There are people that just will send us, checks that just know about us and say we'd like, or have met us and say we'd love to give you, some money to help you, or we'd love to give you some money. We have a lovely lady who didn't have a great time at school when she was little, and she would love school to be a fun place for children. So she just wants to donate to fun.
I love it.
She's wonderful, and so we have to come up with something, and so we're great. Well, the kids really love pizza, and so she donates to a pizza day, and so that's great. She doesn't want us to be donating for books, paper and pens and whiteboards. So she loves pizza and fun.
Yeah, each of
Tanya, and I think the program is always changing and evolving, right? So it was like first was like, the food, then became like the reading with the teacher. I think like also obviously like the reading part, it's all volunteers. Between all the volunteers, we pay for the books and, we purchase whatever it is that we need, which is not, it's minimal. We don't use a lot. We have materials that we've kept over the years or that people donate to us. But I think we always need, I mean, if we have an extra amount of money that someone donates, then oh my gosh, we can use this for the new playground or, something. There's always a need in the school.
Mm,
And I think
mm.
the program keeps evolving and keeps growing. And I think the more donations we get, the more we're able to support the school.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And when we get, smaller donations, then we can fund the school trips on the buses. We can say yes to the principal with what she asks us to do. And there are times, currently the food prices have really gone up, and Cassandra's done an amazing job about keeping everything balanced. But it's been tough because
Yeah.
our donor has been a Canadian dollar, and the dollar's gone down. So that's been tough. So we haven't done a lot of the peripheral things in the last couple of
Mm.
years would normally do. So we're always looking for money, and we never turn down anything. I
Yeah.
mean, we've had a gentleman come to us who has a shoe company, and he says, I'd love to give all the children a pair of shoes. Um, it is it's a day's event trying to equip 140 children with two pairs of shoes. But he's done that twice, and that's been incredible.
And
So
I've been part of that, Tanya, and I must say it is not easy because this gentleman is amazing as well. He's showing up with a whole host of different size black shoes, sneakers, all different sizes to try, and then we've got to try and figure out what sizes the kids need. But it blows your mind. Like as much as I know about the school and as much as I know about the children, I feel like I am constantly learning more things. Even, for example, on that day, I was there and I thought, this is so incredible. All of these children are getting new shoes. And it wasn't until I got there that I realized that most of the kids needed new socks
yeah,
as well.
Mm.
It was
yeah.
it sort of you sort of think, wow, now they've got shoes, but they've got holes in their socks. It
Mm.
was and these, I guess these again, any donations. And but as well, I guess one of the things that I wanted to point out is that bringing the kids to school, this is, how there's the saying about don't give them fish, teach them how to fish.
Hmm.
And that's what education is. We are trying to give these children the skills to have a better life, to be able to go and fend for themselves. Seriously, for any listeners in that as well. I mean, I've sat there, I've sat some days and I've thought, how would my child survive in the world today if they couldn't read? And I mean, it's something that's such a foreign concept because all of my children do read, but to think, how on earth would they even survive? And sometimes I've even, for example, been at the grocery store here and with the checkout person, I've stood there and thought, you know what? Even to be a checkout person, you need to understand numbers. You need to be able to read. You need to be able to put my name in for their little coupon, whatever. You know, there's such basic skills that so many of us take for granted when we are from a more educated family or wealthier family, that I think it can be easy to forget that this is just around the corner and that these people do need our help and that this is part of what's bringing them together. But this place is really easy to fall in love with. It's so easy to fall in love with because these children are, as Maria was saying as well, they are so eager to learn. They
Hmm.
are hungry for love. They're hungry for learning, for growth. They're hungry in general, and everything that the auxiliary is doing is so amazing that you're looking at it from this broad perspective as well. And even Tanya, where you've had to touch on things like the fact that you tested 21 children and could only take 19 into the program because you're seeing as well, like these are not easy decisions to make, to say, unfortunately, you can't join the program But it is something that has to be figured out because you have limited resources and you have to make sure that they are being used to the best of your ability and that you're going to be able to make the biggest impact that's possible.
And I think a huge thing for all of us that you only realize when you're really immersed in it is the hurdles that these children, and Cassandra touched on it, these hurdles that these children have to get to school.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Our children have either been driven by a parent or they've got a bus or they've walked, and it's just, the parents have been on them to get to school. And education is it's a non-negotiable.
Mm,
These children sometimes, they need to stay at home to look after a sibling that's sick, or mum would just wants them home for some reason and doesn't see the importance. So there's a big, and I see this all the time with the principal, there's a big battle with getting the parents to understand the importance of education.
mm,
And we feel if we can get them to the school, we can do as much. But when they don't attend or when they don't show up a lot, and that's really tough because sometimes we've had to make decisions where there's no parental support or
mm,
there's no involvement. We can't help because we need that. We can't
mm.
do it by ourselves. We have them
Yeah.
for such a small amount of time.
Yeah.
So that's tough. That's tough. And every child has a story.
Yeah.
Every child
That's
has
right.
got some background. And I think what I do love and about what Maria said is that we're a large group of extra eyes on these children. And whereas a teacher might be overwhelmed because she's got 26 children, we might have spotted something that we're dealing with one child. And it could be that they need glasses and we'll take them to get glasses. But it's just the small things that can make such a huge amount of difference.
Mm,
The child stepped on a nail and it's been infected and the parent can't get them to the doctor, but somebody will take them. So it's just hoping to make the parents' lives easier and showing that just get the children to school and it'll all work out.
yeah.
Uh, so that's the toughest thing is attendance, I think, generally for
Yeah.
the children.
Hmm.
And as you
But it's
said,
also,
oh,
yeah, sorry, it's also a small school. And I think because it's a small school, you can actually make an impact. You can
yes.
see your hard work through the kids. Like you're feeding the kids, you can see if there's eyes, everyone can see they're eating. Or, the reading program, you can tell you're like, I'm actually touching these kids' lives. It's not a very huge school where kids can get lost.
Mhm.
It's a really nice
Mm,
community and something that's easy to help.
yeah.
Yeah.
And as you said, Tanya, every dollar that's spent goes back into the program in some way. All of the
Yeah.
board members are volunteering. Now, and even in saying that, there is a website, isn't there, which has actually been made by one of the board members' daughters. She's done an incredible job. What's that website that if people want to find out a bit more about the auxiliary?
The AdelaideAuxiliary.com. And we had been meaning to do the website for years and years, and it just was something that was just seemed a bit overwhelming. And finally, one of our board members and her daughter, Nuala, and her daughter Lena, put this whole thing together. And we've been so impressed and so thankful because it really gives, after 50 years, it really gives us an easy reference point when we're talking about it. And it's just a great visual. You can go
Yeah.
on and read through it and really understand the impact. And it's a lot more concise and probably informative than we've been. But
Yeah. No. Oh my goodness. No. Well, I'm going to check that because I have a feeling that it's adelaideauxiliary.org, but
oh, I'm so sorry.
I will double
Gosh.
check that and I will put it in the in the byline if it's not correct. Um, but
You're right, it
also
is .org.
I don't want us to get confused because I know that I have quite a few listeners from Australia and there is an Adelaide Auxiliary that relates to South Australia. The
Oh, yes.
Ah.
Or Adelaide town.
Adelaide
Yeah,
in South
Adelaide.
Australia
Yeah.
as well. But I will double check that. I will have that on the screen and also in the bio as well. But also, is that the best way to contact anyone? Like, what if we have people who listen to this who are local and would love to be a volunteer? Or what if someone is so amazing and is like, I want to fund something because these kids, I want to help make a difference. What can they do?
I believe, and I need to look this up on my side here, but I believe there's an email address on there.
There is.
And if you contact that email address, we had something recently because we're doing a group of dog handlers or a group of dog charities coming to the school, and they reached out through our email. So
Beautiful.
if anybody is coming to the island and wants to either come and read, wants to just see the school, or would like to donate, that's the best way to do it, is to reach out by email. We've also had lots of people that have come to the island that have something to offer that they do somewhere else. They might be, we've had the American Defense Force come down and give a talk, which is always wonderful because we get lots of men and they love having some male energy. We've had people that have come down and have been actresses or actors and have wanted to read books. So people do reach out and find us even before our website. So do, encourage anybody, because if they just have something to offer and they just feel like giving back to children in the community, we will take anything. We
And
love
on vacation too. I think we always have a lot of volunteers. They're like, my mom is in town for a week. Can I bring her along to read? We're like, of course. I think the more exposure our children get to adults and, people that have come from other countries, even like the accent, how they speak, I think this is all so important in their growth. So we love volunteers, even if it's for a day or a week or a month. We're happy to accept people to come and help with the reading program.
Beautiful. But it needs to be organized. So that's why we're saying as well, have a look at the website, contact us through the email. Tanya and the team there are incredible. They are going to be able to figure things out. And truly, I think that sometimes people can forget that every opportunity in life is a moment for learning and for growth, and especially for these children. One of the things I love to do with the children is teach them to shake hands and introduce themselves to new people that they meet. And it's one of those.
I know that because every time I come into school, you come up to me.
These things are life skills that I think, it is something that is so easy, because if there's people out there that are thinking, well, I don't have anything to offer, everything is something to offer. And to be able to teach a child to reach out, shake someone's hand, look them in the eye, smile and say, hello, Miss Tanya, it's lovely to meet you. That makes a difference in someone's life.
Well, it sets them up immediately.
That's right. That's right. Ladies, I'm so grateful for your time. I will have all of the information there. I have so enjoyed speaking to you. And I wanted to truly thank all of you from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of, I know, all of those children's hearts over these years, for all of the work that you do. This is not an easy thing. This is full-time volunteer work that you are doing, and it makes such an incredible difference. Anyone listening, please like, subscribe, share, hop on the AdelaideAuxiliary.org website. Even just clicking on that website helps this charity, because what it means is that when people start Googling it, it comes up first on their screen. Anything you do is helpful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you for listening. This is Warm Hugs with Suzanne, and I look forward to being with you next time.